Hey there, and welcome to Podio Academy. This is Podio 101, Workspace Setup and Management. In this training, we will look at how to create a workspace that's structured for your teams or projects. We will look at how to configure key workspace settings like privacy, branding, descriptions. We'll look at how to manage members and permissions to keep things more secure. And finally, how to move or duplicate or clone apps between workspaces. So great for scaling or reorganizing a setup. And as usual along the way, I'll call out any common mistakes to avoid or any tips to help you work smarter inside of Podio. So let's start with how to create a workspace. So in my main Podio account, I can go into the left-hand navigation. I have my organization. I'm a licensed user. I have the ability to now access workspaces or create a workspace. So backpedaling a little bit, what is a workspace? A workspace is like a digital room, a folder, really where a team or a group of users with specific roles and permissions can work together using the apps, tasks, workflows, whatever you're creating in Podio. So most organizations are using workspaces for teams or projects or even some client-facing work. There are ways that you can archive or turn off workspaces and have short or long intent. So it's good to think about that and plan it out when you're creating a workspace and why. So I'll go ahead and click create a workspace here. In this case, it's going to ask me for a name. Let's do help desk. Now I am presented with two options for the workspace outside of a name: private, only invited members can join, versus open. Do I want to automatically have everyone that joins the organization come in or not? So for most use cases, especially where sensitive or client data is involved, we will obviously recommend keeping your workspace private, and you want to use the open for more of a team-wide collaboration, internal knowledge, any sort of company-wide communication. And another great thing is also to think of consistent naming, especially if you're creating workspaces for clients or departments or one-time projects. So if I was working on an accounting project for this year, maybe I even wanted to change this up and do accounting 25, I don't even know what year it is, tax season. And perhaps I'm engaging clients with requests, feedback, following up with onboarding. Maybe I even want to highlight it more and put a customer name. So obviously it's up to you to determine what you want the name to be with the purpose of it. In this case, I want to go back to help desk. Let's say this is for my help desk team. Why not? So I go ahead and hit create. This is now doing all the magic behind the scenes, and it's now created a workspace that is blank. So right off the bat, I do have the ability to add users. These can be users in my organization or external, people that I want to provide access to. Now we do have some understanding around the roles of what these users can or cannot do, having full control, managing settings, apps, being able to create, edit, interact with items, or maybe just view and comment. And again, you want to use these things sparingly to understand. You'll also notice that we have hypertext here. By clicking on it, will just pop me right into the knowledge base. So if I ever want to learn a little bit more about managing member roles in workspaces, we have our great knowledge base that can provide you with everything you need. This is obviously under the using Podio section, managing members. There we are. So we are managing members in workspaces, member roles. So here we actually provide a lovely grid of the specific roles and what they can or cannot do, keeping in mind if you're on a free account, if it's an external person to your organization or someone that is a licensed user that you're paying for, and what they can or can't do is keeping in mind, again, things like inviting members, being able to edit settings, publish apps. So really look at how you want to provide an idea of maybe a team lead or a workspace owner, or for external collaborators, light user access, great way to keep things secure while still being collaborative. So we'll X out of that for now. The next thing that we can do is we can configure settings. Now that we've already created the workspace, you'll notice in Podio, the wrench icon, this will be a great starting point to get into settings. So I'll click here and go into workspace settings. So workspace settings, I can update the name, I can provide a description. There we go. And just like we can do at the organization level, I can change the URL. Granted, it will update at this space. If I'd update at the organization level, you can see that there's a logical path that it follows. Another thing is I do recommend within stream settings to turn these features off. Podio does tend to get a little chatty. It's up to you depending on the vibe of the workspace. If you really do want to have more of an understanding of who's coming, who's going, who's joining, um, what sort of messages we want to have in there. You can choose to have these on, but I'll typically turn these off. And I can also update the access settings that we chose when we were first building the workspace, and to save or delete the workspace as well. Hitting activity takes me back to the main workspace page. So we can see that if we were to add users, this is that activity feed where we've turned off and made it be a little more focused. In other courses, we'll look at the actual building of apps and the intent behind that and how to create views and whatnot. But we can also still come in and invite users again between employees and clients, remembering those specific roles. But let's also cover the last part, which was moving or cloning apps. So I have this workspace here called Help Desk. I'm the only user in it. When I click, I do notice that there is another Help Desk workspace. So let's say that this is an old workspace. I click into it. This one actually has use, as you can tell, with its own views, its own apps, its own members. Let's say that we're going to be retiring this space. We want to duplicate the structure. We want to maybe create a template. There are ways at that level that I can share these apps. That can be a different session again, going into the app market section or building apps. But in this case, let's say that I just want to take this tickets app as we are shutting this space down, and I want to re-add it over to my new help desk space. So I can click on an individual app. There's that wrench icon again. And we'll notice under actions that clone app is one of them. So I have the ability to click clone, choose the location, which in this case would be help desk without a space. Now I can choose to clone the contents. That would be keeping in mind the legacy, the history of these old cases. So let's say in this case that we did, pun intended, case, you like that we want to bring these cases over. I'm gonna go ahead and check this box and hit clone app. Most of the time you'll want to duplicate the structure of the app, not necessarily the items, but it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. For any of the power users, you do also want to review relationships, calculation fields. Some fields may need to be updated if they reference apps in other locations. So again, knowing what we're talking about, having that context. In this case, I've brought this app over. It has the items in it, but it's actually pointing in this relationship back to the old app. So if there is a relationship field, it would be tying back to that old process that you cloned it from. And that will be the main overview here for the workspace setup. Keep in mind that we just created this help desk workspace, added some users to it. The workspace is really going to be that foundation of your teams, the people, the processes, keeping in mind the data that's being transitioned or cloned and where it's living, whether you're managing the internal projects, if you're working with clients. However you guys are needing to structure this, just keep in mind all of the steps along the way.